Hello, YouTube. This is Practical Prepper 123, and I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it'll be informative to you, and I do welcome comments and suggestions on how I might improve this system, but keeping in line with the system that I'm trying to go with here. First of all, I decided to go with something simple. This is just a large fanny pack. You got it at Walmart. I think it was about $12. It's got a couple pockets on it, 2 pockets for the water, and that's where we're going to start with hydration, probably the most important thing. Now, this is not a live in the woods bag. This is not a bug out bag. This is a bag that I'm going to keep in my car and take with me into the office on the premise that there's some kind of disaster. My car breaks down, something happens, and I can't get home using my vehicle. I need to be able to walk. Now, I only live about 15, 20 miles. Actually, it's probably only about 12, 13 miles from work. But there are times where I am, out of town. I may be 60 miles away. Now, that could be problematic for this bag, but if I'm 60 miles away, I'm also going to have a larger pack that will be in my car. Now, what I have here is, of course, as I mentioned, this bag. So what we're going to do first is I have a stainless steel container for water. That one's important because it's sterile. It doesn't really mess up the taste. And, of course, I can boil water in as well. I've also got a polycarbonate case for the water. That's going to go in there. I have a carabiner attached to one of the things with a set of mechanics gloves that I got from AutoZone. They're about $6 a pair, and that's going to help you in case there's any broken glass or I need to hang on to some kind of ropes or something like that. Second to the water is going to be the food. And you're thinking, oh, really? Peanut butter? Seriously? Well, there's about 3,000 calories in this little small thing of peanut butter, and so that's going in the bag. Of course, you're going to need something to eat the peanut butter with, and I'm going to put that in a little bit later when there's room for it. Next thing, I live in a desert area, and there are lots of scorpions and spiders and snakes, of course, and if I happen to be walking at night, I might need this, so that's going in the bag. Along with that, I have a comprehensive little miniature first aid kit. There's no tourniquets, there's no sutures, nothing quite like that. I've got water purification tablets, a lighter, some gauze bandages, some toenail clippers, some more bandages, some ointments and creams. I've got some ibuprofen tablets in there, a few other things that I might need just to make my trip home a little bit more comfortable. That's going in the bag. Next, I have one of these. I think I got this back in Michigan, and this is an emergency blanket. I really don't know what it's rated to as far as temperature and things like that, but in a warmer climate, I'm probably not going to need it too much. I will go in the desert. At night, it does get kind of chilly, so we're going to go ahead and put that in the bag because I might use it. Going along with the concept of shelter, in a compact bag, what we're going to have here is just a large 35, I think this is a 35-gallon heavy-duty trash bag. I could use that to sit on the ground. I could also use it to cover myself, rainwater collection, anything like that. That's going in the back pocket of the bag. Now getting a little bit further in, we've still got lots of room, so let's go ahead and fill out the rest of this bag. I have a handkerchief. Now the handkerchief I'm going to leave on the outside of the bag, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. What I have here is about 20 feet of toilet paper. This is rolled up. That's pretty self-explanatory. If you've ever been hiking and didn't have it, you know what a miserable experience that is. Rounding out the food supply, I have 3 Jack Links beef jerky. Granted, they're not the highest calorie count item, but I really like them. It does have some salt in there, and it may just be a little bit of extra protein. Getting back to the peanut butter, aside from the calories, it's got protein, it's got sugar, and it's got fat. Those are the 3 things you need to keep you going. As far as just a little make my trip not quite so bad in case things are really bad, I've got a little small package of Skittles for Easter candy and a peppermint left over from Christmas. You're thinking, well, that's silly. You could fill out that bag with some more important things. Well, I've watched a lot of videos, and there's a guy goes by the screen name of Safe Arms Review, and he says you need to keep some things in there that make your dire situation not so terrible. So that's why the candy, that's why the beef jerky and the peanut butter, those are all comfort food type things rather than having a can of Spam or some kind of rations. Also, I don't need water to eat that food. I don't need to fill up my Mountain House bag with water. Water may be scarce. Speaking of water, actually this has nothing to do with water. Sometimes I get a toothache, and I haven't had one for a while, but if that does happen, I don't want to be on a 20-mile hike and not have any way to make that pain go away, so there's some Oragel. Antibiotic ointment. This has a couple different uses. It's lubricating. If you don't have any kind of cuts, scrapes, or bruises, this is gonna help heal it up. Also, because it's petrol based, you can go ahead and start a fire really easy with one of these. Those items can be had very cheap. Let's go ahead and put the candy in there. Now, I may be getting tired, so now I have an energy shot. You get these at the dollar store for $1. Yeah, it's got caffeine. Yeah, it may dehydrate me a little bit, but I think I'd rather have this than not have something, and if I'm really tired. And we're starting to get a little bit full in that bag. The bag's starting to fill up, but yet there is room for more. What we have next is a Bic lighter. Now, if you've read my EDC video, I don't have anything in my EDC for starting fires, so I do have that. Also, in my first aid kit, you saw there was another cigarette lighter, so I do have 2 cigarette lighters. And then, in case of inclement weather, I've got a fire steel here, and we're going to go ahead and put that in the front, along with my whistle, compass, thermometer. Thermometer's kind of a waste of time there, but this thing here could come in very handy. Probably more so for the whistle than anything else, because I'll be sticking to highways most likely, unless it's just really dangerous. And of course I have another flashlight. I have a flashlight in my EDC, and this one is identical to it. It's probably only going to be maybe 20-30 lumens, but it just uses a standard AA battery, and I have an extra AA battery in addition to that in my EDC kit that I carry with me. Finally, I also have some paracord. This is probably 25 feet, and we're going to go ahead and put that in there. And then probably one of the more important things for me is I wear glasses and contact lenses. And right here I have is a spare set of glasses. These are safety glasses, so I can put those on in case things get really hairy. Now, the pack is starting to get really full. Let's go ahead and squeeze that spoon in there. And let's go, well, it does zip up, but it's kind of hard to do with 2 hands, so you'll just have to take my word for it that it closes up. And a little bit tight if I need to. I'll go ahead and move some things around. On the back end of, I do have a pocket knife that I carry in my EDC, but I wanted something a little more substantial for this kit here, so I decided to go with the Glock, I think it's called the Glock 78 field knife. And this is a nice fixed blade knife. There's lots of reviews, torture tests on this. It does not have the sharpest blade, so you may want to repurpose that and get it to maybe like a 25-degree angle for a little bit better slicing. It will, batten wood, not as well as others, but it's an okay knife for that. But it's very durable, and I'm going for the gray man approach in this because it may not be an all-out war-type situation, and just maybe a situation where my car breaks down. And if I'm walking home, I don't want this giant knife sticking out the side of my belt. It just invites unwanted attention. So on the back of this little pouch here, you see there is a little flap, little hook, and this would just snap right in there. I could carry that right up against my belly. As part of my EDC kit, I have my Smith & Wesson 38 revolver or my Taurus TCP, but in a potentially bad situation, I'm going to want something a little more substantial than that, and that's why I have my Smith & Wesson SD9BE, which I've already reviewed on this channel. And this is a 9mm. It has 15 in the magazine, and that's loaded with the Hornady critical defense, and I also have an extra magazine in the pouch, which is going to give me with a 15 plus 1 and another 15 that's going to give me 31 rounds of ammunition in addition to my 5-shot revolver, so I'm pretty safe with that. And of course then I have this bandana, which of course it has a million uses. You can provide shade from the sun. I do have a boonie type hat that I keep in my car, so I'll have that with me, keep the sun off my head. And then main reason I keep this, aside from the filtering water, is this is going to be on my hip. It'll be an open type carry situation. And I really don't want a larger revolver just drawing attention to myself. So what I'm going to do is, if I have to do this, I'm going to lay that revolver on my belt. It's going to be on my hip, and I'll undo this this handkerchief, and I'll kind of tuck that in my pocket to where my pistol is covered, and I really don't look like it's much of anything there. Yes, there are better get-home bags. There's bigger get-home bags. When I weighed this thing, I think it weighed in right just under 10 pounds. With the revolver, with the pistol, it'll be a little bit heavier, of course. I can always throw another pack on my bag, or what am I trying to say? Another backpack on my back. I can grab a gallon of water out of the car, and I can walk through town, down the street, very inconspicuously with this bag. Now, granted, it's a little bit more advanced than just a typical granny fanny pack, but it doesn't really scream, "Hey, I've got a lot of survival gear. Hey, I've got stuff that you might need to stay alive." I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I appreciate your comments. If I've got some information in here that's inaccurate, as in somebody pointed out to me, this is a striker-fired gun. I'm still relatively new to firearms, although I do shoot this well. Feel free to point those out. I don't want to give other people bad information if I can otherwise help it. Well, again, this is Practical Prepper 123. Leave your comments, and have a good day.